do creep that activity back into play. So be able to look out 86 degrees now with that chance for some storms. But dry from Dallas, Wichita as well. Winds kicking up, temperatures topping out to right around 90 degrees. We slide back towards the west from Denver down towards Albuquerque. Again, very warm conditions, but mostly looking at dry skies in those locations. So that's basically what we're looking at here for us as we move our way through the next couple of days. Really getting a break from the onslaught of rainfall that we saw in May. Of course, we saw all the pictures of flooding, just a terrible situation. And of course, the early part of this June, where we've seen quite a bit of rainfall as well. So this is some good news, getting a break from all that activity. All right, talking about getting a break. How about getting a break from Colin? This thing's pulling away faster and faster. It's the very latest on it now with Dr. Greco.
Yeah, Alex, it's moving away from the coast at about 36 miles per hour. So if any rain is going to be in the next couple of hours along the Carolina coast, it'll be out of there by late in the day. There it is right now, an area of low pressure with a lot of thunderstorms on the east side of it. But check this out, it's moving northeast at 36. And also, I noticed this too. So now it's called post-tropical, meaning it doesn't really have any tropical characteristics. Complicated, I won't get into it now, but notice that the winds now are higher than they were when it was a tropical cyclone, and the pressure is lower now than it was a tropical cyclone. Interesting how that works. Anyway, so let's go now have a look at the rain, the last vestiges of Colin along the Carolina coast, scraping the Outer Banks of North Carolina. There's some substantial rains and wind gusts over 30 miles per hour for sure. And mariners beware, this is kind of trouble. I mean, there's some nasty rain bands in here. No lightning, good news, but I think maybe even better news than good news is that it's moving away so quickly. So just another hour or two, and it will be much better weather, even on the Outer Banks. There's Colin in the bigger picture, okay? And then southwest from there, what do we have down here? Some interesting weather developments down there. Right, we've got we have Tropical Depression 1E right here, very close to the coast of Mexico and Central America. This is TD1, winds are 35, moving east-northeast at 7, meaning if it's not on land now, it will be relatively soon, and whatever was there tropically should disintegrate over the land mass. That, including Colin, kind of an area of sort of unsettled weather in the tropics, enhanced thunderstorm activity that we've seen now for a few days. Is it going to last? Are we going to see another tropical system come out of this area? We've seen 3 named storms this year. Of course, one of them was in January, but 2 in the last 10 days. Is that sort of rapid frequency of tropical development going to continue? No, I don't think so, and here's why. I look out to the west, and there's an area of sinking motion aloft. This is at high altitudes, and there are some showers and storms out here, but not many, and they're not lasting very long. That sinking air aloft is relatively stable and preventing a lot of these clouds from growing very tall. So they're kind of sad, these clouds. They're getting crushed by some of that sinking air aloft. And I don't expect the organization of thunderstorm activity to be robust in that part of the world. And that dry air is going to roll eastward across our section of the world, including the Caribbean, in the next 1 to 2 weeks. So what does that mean? We had Alex very early in the year. Then we had Bonnie and Colin just recently. I think it may be a while, based on the large-scale pattern setting up, that it may be a while before we see Danielle. And that would be great news. We're calming down the tropics, at least for a little bit. We'll be right
Yeah.
Well, our eyes rising water flowing like a river. This is in St. Petersburg, Florida. People here in the Tampa, St. Petersburg area keeping a close eye on the rain and the chances of flooding. The rain's not over yet, though. We've got crews that are out there on the scene. And I'll tell you, it's not the day to hit the waves, that's for sure. In Fort Myers, Florida, strong waves creating a higher than normal current risk. Flooding also a major concern for the southwestern region of the state. We're going to be keeping an eye on some of those areas. This is the scenes from earlier there. So we continue here as we work our way through this afternoon. Welcome back into Weather Center Live with meteorologist Alex Wallace. Lots to track here for us. Collins starting to pull further and further away, which is some good news that is there. But we still have some impacts that are being felt. Numerous folks are without power at this time. Hopefully that can get straightened out. Let's get you to what we know at the current time here for you as we continue to track this thing. More than, again, 10,000 folks are without power at this time. The Skyway Bridge, the Sunshine Skyway Bridge, still closed because of high winds there. All right, let's focus in on what is happening there with things across the Florida Sunshine State. We have our very own Reynolds Wolf who's been tracking things there. Let's get the latest from him.
That's right. I'm driving right through the Tampa Bay area, which is home to some 4.3 million people or so. They're waking up to this reality, this harsh reality. It has been like a ticker-tape parade with liquid confetti that's been coming down. Heavy rainfall to the tune of several inches of rainfall. This is what we were afraid of. The heavy rain in the same area again and again. And you see the ponding on the roadways. People have been out and about trying to pick up palmetto fronds. We have gone through just rush hour, kids trying to get to school, people trying to get to work. All of this really in a really unfortunate time. What's amazing about it, too, is much of this has really been in a channel. If we were to drive 50 miles to the north, we'd run into drier air. 50 miles to the south, basically the same deal. But we have the swamp, just this stripe of moisture, which continues to permeate right across the state, all this tropical moisture, and the effects are as follows. I mean, we've had tree damage in places, some patches here and there. And again, high water that continues to mount up. I would expect this probably to continue as we make our way through the late morning hours, hopefully letting up as we get to the hour. So it looks like there was a little bit of movement in this jogging a bit more towards the south. So we're hoping that by the time we get to, well, say later on this afternoon and evening, and hopefully over the next couple of days, we can expect this moisture to move out and then the cleanup. All right, guys, let's head back to the studio.
And there's Reynolds Wolf in St. Petersburg, where there's still rain going on in Florida. Now, I want to take you back to about midnight, as that's when this tropical storm, Colin, made landfall. Take a look at here. This was the analysis by the National Hurricane Center. There you see Colin moving toward the coast. And just about midnight in the Big Bend came ashore as a tropical storm with 50-mile-an-hour winds. But around the center, there were no winds. You see, all the weather was well in advance of it, as if you were watching yesterday, of course, and if you're in Florida, you know that the center had nothing to do with it. Here's where we are now. Now, it's no longer a tropical storm. It's called post-tropical storm, Colin. And it's a complicated meteorological transition, but it's essentially turned into something more like a nor'easter. And look at that, 60-mile-an-hour winds, pressure is dropping, and speeding away to the northeast. So it still has a little bit of effect on the Cape Hatteras area of North Carolina, and because of that, the National Hurricane Center is still issuing advisories on it, and it's 120 miles from Cape Hatteras right now. Now here's the radar, and there you can see just a little bit of rain, but with the center, which is kind of down in this area down here, and yes, it doesn't look anything like a center. In fact, it's very hard to find, but in any case, it's moving away so quickly that this rain is going to be out of here in another hour and a half, and that'll be it. Still a little windy, and still technically tropical storm warnings in effect there on Cape Hatteras. Now, follow the storm to the south. Look at this. It has this big tail that goes down to Florida, and it's still raining down here in central Florida. Now, the rain has shifted south to Tampa Bay. There's the Tampa Bay area, down to the Sarasota area now. But these are good downpours, good tropical downpours. It feels very, very tropical down there. And it's going to stay kind of tropical. And here's why. I'll show you on the satellite. Look, you can clearly see that tail there. Let's analyze it here. Have the model actually put the wind flow on it, and look at the way the winds are flowing here. See that down here they're coming this way, and here they're coming that way, and then in between you have a line, and we actually draw that line on there. It's a wind shift line, or technically a trough, and so that's going to be the dividing line between the air coming from up here and the air coming from down there. Now that air in the north is coming off the land, so that's generally pretty dry air. This air here is coming from the deep late tropics. It's kind of moving up this way. So that's very moist air. So as long as anybody south of that line is going to stay with the chance of these tropical downpours, and guess what? The line is actually going to shift to the north just a little bit as we go forward in time. So everywhere from Orlando, Tampa, on to the south, staying with leftover tropical moisture from Tropical Storm Colin. So even though it's kind of technically dead, Alex, it's not completely out of the picture. All right, Alex, back to you.
All right, thanks so much. And as we focus in on the northeast of Boston for you, clouds bubbling up a bit, temperatures in the upper 70s. The threat for storms, that's what we have in play for us across a good chunk of New England. So keep an eye on things. In fact, we're starting to see some showers and storms popping up. You can see that here across New York State. Some of those isolated storms getting bubbling up there for you right now with a little bit of lightning showing up out there as well. But just newly issued now, a severe thunderstorm warning just to the north of the city of Boston. There you have it right there. That shaded in that yellow. That storm popped up pretty quickly. You can see some lightning strikes showing up there with that particular storm just to the west of the Gloucester area here. So again, severe thunderstorm warning in place at this time. Let me see if I can get those counties in place to show you exactly who is dealing with it. They're in Essex County until 12:45. Hail and damaging winds being the main threat as that storm continues to move to the northeast, right around 40 miles per hour. That's going to be one of the risks that we deal with here. That risk for some of those storms that could produce some of those strong winds. So heads up out there, damaging wind potential here in the medium range from basically Massachusetts on off towards the north. We'll keep an eye on these storms as they move through the rest of the afternoon.
During a tornado, do you stay in your car?
My experience with USAA is awesome. Homeowners insurance, life insurance, automobile insurance. I spent 20 years active duty, and they still refer to me as a gunnery sergeant when I call. Being a USAA member because of my service in the military, they pass that on to my kids, something that makes me happy. My name is Roger Zapata, and I'm a USAA member for life.
USAA. We know what it means to serve, get an insurance quote, and see why 92% of our members plan to stay for life.
Because they are easily tossed and destroyed, either leave the vehicle for sturdy shelter